Hello everybody, this is my unboxing video of the new 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray edition of The Dark Crystal, Jim Henson's 1982 movie that starred entirely puppets. So I just got the Best Buy exclusive on SteelBook, and I wanted to do a quick unboxing, unwrapping video to show you guys what's inside. You've got the Best Buy exclusive SteelBook sticker right here, and then you've got your HDR high dynamic range sticker right here on the back. The only other sticker you've got is for the digital release. You can redeem it on Movies Anywhere, which was recently, that was actually Disney Movies Anywhere. And Disney Movies Anywhere basically turned into Movies Anywhere. And then you were able to link digital, like your Ultraviolet collection, your Amazon video collection, and even your Apple iTunes video collection. So I thought that was pretty cool. So here we are on the back. This just came out about 2 days ago. So on March 6, 2018, this just came out. It feels pretty good. It's a SteelBook, so it does have the sort of the metal tin casing. Okay. Let's go ahead and take the shrink wrap off. Okay, so the first thing we see is you've got a sort of a backing right here that can be removed. Oh, cool. That's some Brian Froud artwork right there. The Dark Crystal, the sort of the looks like the symbol that Aughra was holding in that scene where just before the Gartham had attacked. There's she had this little metal piece that she was looking through, and that's sort of the symbol of the three suns that line up. But I believe this looks like a drawing, a painting from The World of the Dark Crystal by Brian Froud, so that's pretty awesome little extra right there. On the back, you've got a couple of the Mystics. You've got Jen and Kira and Fizzgig, and you've got the Chamberlain right here. Sort of the sleeve, I guess, goes up and over the top. And as far as the front, you've got the original movie poster artwork. This is not by Brian Froud, but I'm actually glad they went ahead and used this, because this was on the original Thorn-EMI release of The Dark Crystal back in 1983, the very first video release, at least the US video release. On the UK release in '83, which was by RCA, they used a different artwork, an alternative poster. I believe it was the movie poster from the UK movie release. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. Here we go. All right, it's got a lot of cool stuff. You'll notice right off the bat it's got 2 discs. Here's your Ultra HD Blu-ray disc right here. And then you've got this other disc here, which includes just the standard Blu-ray. So it says Blu-ray right here. As far as the digital movie code, you redeem this code. So if you're watching this video, this code has already been redeemed, because I'm going to redeem it before I upload it. Haha. The Dark Crystal on Disney, or not Disney Movies Anywhere, but Movies Anywhere. Okay, which, like I mentioned before, Apple, Amazon, and Google Play. So that kind of merges everything together. All your iTunes videos, Amazon, Vudu, Vudu being sort of the outlet for the original or the old ultraviolet movies, and you don't see those anymore on some of these more. Everything's just kind of being pulled together in the same direction now through Movies Anywhere. Although, so I've got all my accounts linked through Movies Anywhere. I'm actually able to view them all on Amazon. I haven't tried looking to see if they're also available on Vudu, but it's not like I have to go to the Movies Anywhere app to view my movies. I can go to Amazon, and I typically do just go to Amazon to view it, or Vudu. I haven't gone to Vudu since I linked everything together. But what I thought was great was that I can link my iTunes movie purchases, which I haven't really, I almost forgot what I had on iTunes. Okay, so let's take a look at this limited edition Best Buy exclusive. So what you've got here is the ultimate visual history. Okay. Rare artwork, interviews, and on-set photos from the beloved Jim Henson fantasy classic. Looks like a nice book that they're going to be producing. Oh wow, check that out. They've got a board game as well from Riverhorse. Some more of the inside editions. Prop replicas and collectibles from the Dark Crystal. Wow, that looks pretty awesome. I really like that Dark Crystal Chamberlain statue that's going to be coming out. Check that out, the actual crystal itself. Couple staffs, and you've got the crystal shard, I'm assuming, will be available as well. Cool. Looks like two of these. You get 2 copies. Great. And we've got a little note from Lisa Henson, CEO of the Jim Henson Company. Dear fans of the Dark Crystal. And I'll let you guys read that when you buy your own copy. And you can see that the background on the inside of the Steelbook has sort of a layout of the crystal chamber. You've got the Skeksis and you've got some of the Gartham above here. And let's pull this disc out to see the rest of it. So you can pretty much see the whole thing there. It's pretty cool. So this release, being brand new, they've got some new features in here, and this just came out right on the heels of the theatrical re-release of the movie that was available in limited theaters through Fathom Events, and I believe it had it was in February and early March. They released it on theaters. AMC theaters were playing it. Century theaters were playing it. There was some additional commentary, not commentary, but some presentation material at the beginning of that movie re-release. This particular Blu-ray includes an all-new special feature entitled The Dark Crystal, The Myth, The Magic, and Henson Legacy. The Blu-ray also contains deleted scenes, commentary with Brian Froud, who is the conceptual designer of The Dark Crystal. It also includes picture-in-picture storyboard track, original Skeksis language scenes. So a lot of the same stuff that the other releases had. It looks to me like the only new thing that they've got is The Dark Crystal, The Myth, The Magic, and the Henson Legacy featurette, which, since I haven't watched this yet, I don't know if that's the same featurette that they showed in front of the re-release of the movie by Fathom Events. And there you have it. And here's the limited edition, limited release, Best Buy exclusive of the Dark Crystal Steelbook. And what I'll be doing next is a little bonus. I'm going to go through each of the video releases from the very beginning, from 1983 all the way through current. Okay, and here we are with the very first video release of the Dark Crystal. This one by Thorn-EMI, and it was released on VHS, Betamax, and CED by Thorn-EMI Video back in 1983. So first you've got the Thorn-EMI Betamax version. For those who are familiar with the old Beta format, which was a sort of a competitor to VHS, much like DVD. And actually DVD didn't have a competitor, but Blu-ray, when it first came out, had HD DVD as its competitor. And we all know what happened to HD DVD. The same thing kind of happened to Betamax as well. The VHS version. Now, much like the SteelBook, this contains the original, at least the cover contains the original artwork from the movie poster of the Dark Crystal. Back in '83, they also released this big cumbersome thing. This is a capacitance electronic disc for the CED system. Okay, this sort of predates Laserdiscs. Okay, and this is the Dark Crystal release for that system in the US by Thorn-EMI. This one being from, you know, these don't actually have dates on them, so I had to look it up to find out at least what year they were released. The copyright information on here is from 1982, but according to the research I did, these were all released in 1983, and this may have come out in '84. So there you have it. Those are the very first home video releases of the Dark Crystal on Betamax, VHS, and CED. Next up are the UK releases of the Dark Crystal. These ones actually have a date on the back, and actually just the year that they were released. And these ones were released by RCA Columbia Pictures and Video UK. So the VHS, and this one actually does say 1983 on here. This one has a alternate cover. Did not have the US movie poster cover. It had a different cover. I don't believe that artwork is by Brian Froud. Let's crack this open so you guys can see what the videotape looked like from 1983. And here is the CED version, the PAL or PAL UK CED video disc. This one actually says 1984 right here, so the video or the VHS release was in '83 and the CED release was in '84. Both of them by RCA Limited. And there you have the '83-'84 UK release. Okay, and the next release on video was in 1988 by HBO Video, and it was on VHS. And at this point in time, Betamax had been discontinued, and everything was pretty much coming out on videotape or VHS until a little bit later on when they started releasing Laserdiscs. Now, this is sort of the precursor to DVDs, okay? And HBO did a Laserdisc release in 1990 for the very first time, okay? And both of these featured the same movie poster artwork that also appears on the current 4K Ultra HD release of the Dark Crystal. You notice the running time on these sort of bounces around. Sometimes it's 93 minutes, sometimes it's 89 minutes, sometimes it's 92 minutes. It just depends, I guess. I've never really looked into the running time differences. I do know that on, I think, the Australian releases, it's stated as being 89 minutes, and on this one here, it's 93 minutes. Take a look at the Laserdisc. The Laserdisc version is really awesome. I'm gonna have to zoom out because this is a lot to show right here. Oops, here we go. So Laserdisc edition, the Super Deluxe. I mean, you've got the entire menu structure right here. You've got your credits, your production, lots of photos, this really cool splash in the Dark Crystal logo, and you've got the Laserdisc. There's actually two of them in here. Let's have a look at those. Okay, so there's your, looks like there's 3 sides total. This is side 3. This disc over here is side 1 and side 2. Take a look at these. Very awesome. Side 1, side 2. We went on to create, or at least release, the Dark Crystal on Laserdisc another time through the Disney release, which I'll show in a moment here. And they also released it on Laserdisc in Japan. Not familiar with the UK or Australian releases of the Laserdisc. Total running time here is stating that it's 160 minutes. So it looks like it might have some additional footage or some additional features, special features on here. Yeah, apparently they've included the world of the Dark Crystal on here as well on disc 3. Disc 1, which includes side 2 and side 1, include the movie. Looks like they're also including some of the trailers and also some deleted scenes in it on side 3, which is the second disc. Everything else, so basically the world of the Dark Crystal featurette. And there you have the second US release of the Dark Crystal by HBO Video in 1988 and 1990. Also in 1990, and I thought I'd throw this into the video as a bonus, this is the Japanese Laserdisc release of the Dark Crystal. And I've used artwork here that has never been used anywhere else as far as I know. It shows Jen and Kira running from the crystal, and you've got the shard here in the middle, and of course the logo written in katakana. But this thing is really cool. I really like it. It was released in 1990. It was not released by HBO. It was released by this company, Laservision. I guess that was one of the Japanese companies that released Laserdiscs back then. Let's take a look at this. It's got a lot of cool stuff in here. Okay, so there's the cover, and then you've got this booklet in here that's got a lot of cool stuff. There's the front cover. Of course, it's got the the original movie poster artwork, just like the new 4K release does. So they kept that. Got a lot of photographs. This is like it pulls out like a trifold, pull out. A lot of great black and white photos in here. So you've got the Mystics, you've got Jen and Kieran Fizgig, you've got some of the Skeksis. A lot of scenes from the movie. There's Agra, here's a scene with the Emperor. It's really cool, has a very sort of vintage look to it. It's just the movie, one disc, a side 1 and a side 2. It did not include The World of the Dark Crystal, like the US release did in 1990. Here's what I believe are the menus for the disc. Could be credits, I really can't tell. But here's the disc itself. Side 1 and side 2. And that is the Japanese 1990 Laserdisc release of the Dark Crystal. All sorts of great packaging with that one. On July 29th, 1994, Jim Henson Video re-released the Dark Crystal again on VHS and on a new widescreen Laserdisc. And this was actually released through Disney, or what was then Buena Vista Home Video. Okay, and you'll notice that the front artwork is radically different from what we're seeing the series or the movie coming back to with the original poster artwork, movie poster artwork. So here's the VHS release. Okay, very, for the time, very Disney-esque packaging on here. And here is the widescreen Laserdisc. This one does not open up like the previous HBO video Laserdisc release. It was pretty much a pretty standard Laserdisc release, just, you know, a cover and then the disc inside. This one apparently just has the movie. It's one disc, and it does say 93 minutes down here. And once again, released in 1984. And let's have a look at the disc inside. And there it is right there. Side 1 and side 2. These were very cumbersome back in the day. Very large discs, and the players were huge. Still a step in the right direction, trying to go digital on these. We're just using videotape. I think around the time when DVDs came out, that sort of signaled the end to VHS, and it sort of died a slow death. And that's the 1994 release to home video of the Dark Crystal in VHS and Laserdisc formats. Okay, and October 5th, 1999, Sony Pictures Home Entertainment and Jim Henson Home Entertainment gave the film one final VHS release. It wasn't 94, it was in 1999. They released the VHS version of the Dark Crystal for the final time before they said farewell to that format. If you look closely, these were signed by Brian Froud. I had met Brian Froud at the San Diego Comic-Con one year, and I brought a bunch of my DVDs and other collectibles for him to sign. Really cool guy. Great talking with him. He was just great about signing everything I brought, and I brought a lot of stuff. So VHS, and here's the very first DVD release of The Dark Crystal, 1999. Pretty much have the same artwork, the same stuff you have on the VHS. It's just in a DVD format. And there's the disc. And you've got this little insert. It's got, you know, some the trifold insert here with some quotes from Variety magazine. The Motion Picture Guide gave it 3 stars, saying it opened here on December 17th of 1982. Dazzling technological and artistic achievement. There's a nice photograph of the Chamberlain. And here's a scene selection guide. Looks like there were no other features on this particular release, just the movie. And approximate running time, 94 minutes. So it's, again, deviates a little bit here and there on the runtime. And those are the releases from 1999. And on November 25th of 2003, the collector's edition was released, which would sort of coincide, I guess, a little bit with the 20th anniversary. So the movie was released, or sorry, the movie was released in 1982, so it'd be sort of the 21st anniversary of the Dark Crystal. This is a really cool collector's edition. Again, I got this one signed by Brian Froud at Comic-Con. Sort of a cardboard, square-bound, almost looks like a book format. It's got a nice sort of image of one of the mystics on the back. Very cool. Let's have a look inside. It's got all sorts of great stuff inside. Okay, so this is just sort of an advertisement card right here. Put that aside. I thought this was really cool. It's not an actual cell, but I thought it was a pretty cool little bonus in here. And I'm trying to see what that is an image of. This image right here on this cell, this film strip cell, is actually the image that you see right here. Okay. The Dark Crystal Cenotype. Jim Henson's studying cinematic masterpiece and all puppet production is a story about Jen, a gelfling who tries to free his world from the reign of the evil Skeksis. The Dark Crystal Cenotype is a limited edition art graphic produced from a select single computer-generated image and includes 1 frame of the corresponding film footage produced from that image. The Dark Crystal image is digitally scanned and expertly reproduced onto the paper using intricate state-of-the-art imaging and printing techniques. The film footage is an actual 35mm film frame reproduced from the original CGI image by master film technicians. This is a limited edition. That's number 21,230. I thought this was really cool. Sort of a notepad reproduction. believe this was a copy of the notepad that Jim Henson had used when he had started developing the Dark Crystal. Very cool. We can kind of flip through this. All sorts of great stuff. You can see his handwritten notes in here. He's got it on double-sided as well. He's written both sides. It looks like he's got a, that looks like a little sketch of one of the mystics. So he's got the plot here, plot 1, plot 2, plot 3. Some great reading, and you can read this. It's in his handwriting, but it's definitely legible. Once again, I thought recreating this notepad was a really awesome idea. Ceremony continued. It's really his original notes, original plot from the movie in his own writing. I think for them to have reproduced this really shows a dedication to the fans by Jim Henson Productions. Here's some more, looks like Mystic and Skeksis artwork, and that apparently looks like Jen right here, a little sketch. The Oovers, okay, so they're called Oovers here. And the Skeksis kind of gives you an idea of the differences between the two and what he was thinking in his head when he started developing the ideas for this movie. Lots of stuff in this. Here's another note from Cheryl Henson, daughter of Jim Henson. This is a really nice looking little piece right here. It's semi-transparent, a very fine sort of vellum paper. And here, this is actually on the back. So when you got this, it was wrapped, it was shrink wrapped with this on the back. And this just kind of has the details of the disc. 93 minutes on this one. And here's the actual DVD release, the actual disc itself in here. And that is the collector's edition of the Dark Crystal, released in 2003. Here's another 2003 release that just sort of went almost unnoticed, with the Superbit DVD version of the Dark Crystal, which there actually was a difference. I did when I first purchased this. And I want to say this was released in 2003 as well. According to down here, it says 2003. I did a comparison between this and the 1999 DVD release, and the Superbit version is definitely more colorful. At least that's what I thought. I watched it on a pretty nice television in a DVD using composite video at the time. There definitely is a difference. It is hard to tell unless you have a really nice television. You can definitely tell a difference. But the Superbit version was sort of touted as being a better quality transfer. The Superbit collection sets a new benchmark in high-resolution DVD picture and sound. So this is sort of a precursor to high definition. They're trying to get there at this point in time, and like I said, this is in 2003. Superbit DVDs utilize a high bitrate digital transfer process that optimizes video quality and offers both DTS and 5.1 Dolby digital audio. All Superbit DVDs are widescreen presentations in the original language. Other languages are subtitled. And there you have the 2003 Superbit DVD release of the Dark Crystal. Okay, and here are the Australian releases from, these are actually from 2004, and there were two releases. There was a general release which includes the slip case right here. Okay, it shows that it's in the PAL Region 4 format right here. These essentially are the same, it's just different packaging. So the standard edition of the collector's edition for the Australian release, which was released about a year later after the US collector's edition release, included this nice little slipcase with some artwork of the castle of the crystal, and also a little narrative here about the movie itself. Then on the back, it included some scenes from the movie, and in addition, there was some bonus features: the world of the Dark Crystal, some drawings and profiles, text galleries, and there's a 12-page collectible booklet with Brian Froud conceptual artwork. So I thought these were really cool additions, these Australian releases. So here's the actual disc case itself for the Australian release, and it's the same as in sort of the limited edition release, which I'll get to in a moment. The runtime on this says 89 minutes. Thought I'd point that out. And here's that collector's edition booklet that they mentioned on the back. And let's take a look through it. Okay, a dazzling technological and artistic achievement, a variety of magazines. So here's the same note from Cheryl Henson that appeared in the US release of the collector's edition. Here's some really cool artwork that, this is that Brian Froud conceptual artwork for each of the different character types in the Dark Crystal. So you've got Gelflings, you've got Mystics, Skeksis, the Podlings, Aughra, the Landstriders. You've got a picture of Brian Froud himself, and also sort of a quote that he had written. Some conceptual artwork as well. Aughra, the Gelflings, and the Podlings. Some conceptual artwork for the Mystics and the Skeksis. And here's the original movie poster and a little quote from Jim Henson. And you'll recognize that as being the same image that was on the back of the collector's box of the US release. Nice little drawing of the Chamberlain by Brian Froud. In addition to this sort of standard collector's edition release in Australia, they also released this really cool tin for the DVD. And it's sort of like a steelbook in a way. So here's the Dark Crystal steelbook released in the US for the Ultra 4K HD edition. And here's the DVD sort of tin, collector's tin that they refer to it as. And this one I've got signed by Brian Froud as well, as you can see. It's a little larger than the Blu-ray steelbook. As you can see, I haven't actually opened this yet, so, but this is identical to what's in the standard release. So they're pretty much the same thing. There was really no difference that I could tell, except the SKU numbers right here had to be different. Obviously, I think that there's a little bit of a color difference in the two. You can see that this one's a little bit darker brown. This one's more of a yellow tint. Other than that, though, there's really no difference in what it actually says in the back. Yeah, there's really no difference between these two that I can tell. So those are the Australian releases. One of them in a really cool collector's tin that says the Dark Crystal right here. So there's the tin right here, and this is sort of embossed, this logo right here. This is actually a really nice tin. I remember when I showed this to Brian at Comic-Con. He hadn't actually seen this yet, and I was kind of amazed at the quality. This is really nice. I mean, I don't know if I can capture full quality on this Australian collector's tin on video, but it's a really nice looking case for the DVD. And those are the Australian releases from 2004, the Australian collector's editions. And here is the 2005 release of the Dark Crystal on home video, and this format was on the Universal Media Disc, or UMD, for the PlayStation Portable, and was released on July 26th of 2005. And this one says 93 minutes. The PlayStation Portable had its own sort of library of movies, and this is before the whole download and digital copy age. You'll notice it says DVD picture quality, widescreen presentation, but really it was a small format portable that played games and also played these little movies on these little miniature discs that were smaller than Blu-ray discs. They look almost the size of the discs that were used by like the Nintendo GameCube. So the idea is that you would put this little disc inside there, and you'd be able to watch the movie. And there's really not much else to look at in this case. Just a basic ad here. Talks about how to insert the UMD. So it's this whole entire, the actual disc itself is in here, but it's got this case over it as well. So it's like a little miniature DVD with a case that kind of protects it from being scratched or whatnot. And you'll notice it's sort of open right here. And the case itself, you've got a picture of Jim Henson. You've got Jen on top of the Dark Crystal, one of the Mystics. And you've got some Brian Froud conceptual artwork in here, and that's pretty much about it. So that is the 2005 UMD video release for the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, of Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. And here is the 25th anniversary edition DVD of the Dark Crystal that was released on August 14th, 2007. One thing to note about this, they've never used this design. This is a brand new sort of design that they've used for this, as well as the subsequent Blu-ray release a couple years later. But I thought this was really cool because it sort of has like this hologram card that's been that's glued to the front of the cardboard slipcase, and you can kind of see. It's really hard to like show in the video, but it is a sort of a 3D-ish hologram showing the crystal shard, and you can see in the background you've got that upside down triangle symbol. So it's really cool sort of gimmick. The 25th anniversary edition. This is sort of the slipcase for it. Here's the actual DVD case itself. So you've got pretty much the same information on the back of these. Okay. We'll take a look at the inside of the DVD. So the first thing you'll note is we've got some a little advertisement here for the soundtrack, The Dark Crystal, with music by Trevor Jones, and then you've got the 25th anniversary collectible figures where you had Jen on a Land Strider, and you've got one of the Mystics here, and these were put out by Mind Style. I remember seeing those at Comic-Con, and you've got some of the other movies that they're releasing too. And here's the disc, and it's a 2-disc set. So you've got disc 1, which contains, you know, the movie, and disc 2 has the special features. The original making of documentary, The World of the Dark Crystal, which had appeared many times, I think, since the Laserdisc release. Deleted scenes and so on. So that is the 2007 release of The Dark Crystal on DVD. And lastly, here is the first release of The Dark Crystal on Blu-ray. So the artwork on this edition, or this release, is the same as the artwork on the 2007 DVD release, the 25th anniversary. This was released on Blu-ray in September 29th of 2009. And it does not say that it is the 25th anniversary edition, because in 2007, that is when the 25th anniversary took place. So this was released in 2009. And this version pretty much carried for a very long time until they released the new 4K version. So in the background, you can see you've got the Skeksis in their crystal chamber. Looks pretty nice. It was a pretty simple release. There wasn't really anything special about it. It's just a basic Blu-ray. And then we get to the Ultra 4K release. So this is the latest, which then replaces the original 2009 Blu-ray. And this one didn't even have a code or anything for the digital copy. There was no digital copy at this point in time. It was simply the disc itself with the Blu-ray movie. There was no, there wasn't another DVD in here. There wasn't, downloadable content or anything. It was just the movie. So now we've got the 4K, the Ultra 4K edition, which includes a Blu-ray. I believe you can also still order this new release as a DVD. I think the DVD is fairly cheap. I want to say it's like $15 for the DVD release of this. And then you've got, for the standard Blu-ray 4K, I think you've got, I think it's like $22, $23, something like that. But this one was $24.99. Definitely well worth it. Definitely a very nice addition to any Dark Crystal fans collection. And I, for one, am glad they finally went and did the 4K Ultra HD transfer. And I'm looking forward to checking out the movie. Thanks for watching, everybody.